Well, hello there. Today I'm doing something a little different. I'm far away from my normal stomping grounds, having taken advantage of my trip down to see my parents in the Tampa area to come out to one of Florida's state parks, the Little Manatee River State Park, which is only a few miles from where my parents live, so that's convenient. And today we're just doing a little day hike out here, take in some of the local scenery, plant life and wildlife, and see what all Florida has to offer in the way of hiking. One thing I know is I'm not dealing with any elevation today. It is flat. I think the total elevation point range that I'm dealing with is from 34 below sea level to 66 feet above sea level. So I'm talking a grand total of 100-foot swing in elevation along the course of my trail today. I think I can manage that. But yeah, already seeing the plant life that I don't normally get on the trail. As you know, we're seeing some of the palm varieties out here, and looking forward to everything else I'm going to encounter. So it's going to be a good day. Well, I'll take advantage of a lull in the noise of the traffic from the nearby highway to let you know how it's going so far. It's definitely warmer than I have been hiking in lately. I expect it's going to be a nice toasty day. I think it's supposed to get up into the 80s, and obviously we're dealing with a higher humidity than the dry air up in North Georgia that I've been dealing with lately. Have already seen a variety of wildlife, numerous lizards out here, and one very fast long black snake that I kind of came upon and startled him, and he just slithered off to the side of the trail and further into the wooded area faster than I could even really notice, much less get a picture of him. Looked to be about 4 or 5 feet long and moving fast, but he was no bother to me. Glad to see the wildlife out here, and the vegetation is very lush, and a little bit of shade is very nice. So far this trail is living up to its promise. Enjoying it out here. Looks like it's probably going to be about a 6.5 mile loop, I think, is what the trail map indicated. So we'll see how that works out. One thing different is normally I'll park at the trailhead and do my hike and then get back to my car. Today I got dropped off because we have limited vehicles for everyone. So I dropped off by one person, and later I'll be picked up by someone else. So I have to coordinate all our timing with that. But, yeah, it's opened up a little bit here. As you can see, the trail itself in many places has got a much more of a sandy surface, which is definitely something different from what I'm used to at home. But you've got occasionally these open areas with the low growth palms and trees more in the distance, and then it'll go back into a closed-in pathway again. Seems to be a nice intermixing of that approach on the trail. We crossed a couple of small waterways over some bridges that they have thankfully in place. You know, I was cautious about choosing this trail to go on. There were some mixed reviews in all trails, but finally a more recent commenter gave a fairly comprehensive reporting, and also indicated that, you know, the strong possibility that many of the comments that had been on the more negative fashion about the trail may not even have been referencing this trail because of some of the things they were describing. So I took that person at their word. They seemed knowledgeable about the area and very descriptive in their comment. And on their advice, I'm out here enjoying my day. Alright, well, I am about 2.5 miles along the northern arc of the loop, and I've come to a little spur trail. So I am taking the 0.2 mile spur out here to see the designated primitive camping site along this trail, just to see what it looks like. So should be coming up on it here pretty soon, and figured I could share that with you all, have the discovery of it together. So trail has continued to be a pleasant hike. Again, no elevation is a nice treat after 900 miles of ups and downs. But continue to see or hear signs of wildlife. Saw another one of the black snakes that I mentioned before, and again slithered back into the woods faster than I could get a camera or phone out to get you all a view of it. But it looks like I've come onto the campsite here. I guess it's primitive in one sense, but it does have some amenities here. As you can see, it's got a nice picnic table and some benches and firing. Looks like plenty of open spaces to pitch a tent if you are so minded. And yeah, lots to speak for it if camping along here is something you have a mind to do. I'll probably take the opportunity to have a little sit on one of those benches and rest for a minute, have a drink, maybe a little snack, and then carry on my way. Well, I'm getting close to the west end of the trail where it'll loop back and down to the southern arc and then proceed eastward back towards the trailhead. So maybe about halfway through the hike, feeling pretty good. Been a few people I've encountered out on the trail, so I'm not out here by myself. Just had a lady go past me same direction I was. Looked like she may have been moving at a pretty good pace, not quite trail running, but definitely stepping right along. And I think she's more geared for the weather. She was it was a brief outfit, I'll just put it that way. It was, athletically appropriate for the conditions we're in. And I came out here with long pants just because I wasn't sure what the vegetation conditions would be, or insects, and wanted to make sure I had proper protection. But in the heat, shorts may have been a better option for me. So I'm continuing on, like I said, starting to make my way to the southern arc, and we will proceed on with the second half of this trail. Well, I'm on the inner path now, heading eastward on the southern stretch of the loop, and the nature of the trail has definitely changed. This portion of the trail runs alongside the Little Manatee River for a good stretch of it. I don't think I'm even to that point yet, but I'm definitely in much more of a wetland environment than I was out on the outer path, where it was much more sandy and dry. Definitely crossing lots of waterways, some which are mostly just muddy bogs, and some are, pools, some running waterways, all sorts of variety, but definitely a lot more moisture in the ground on this portion. Well, I'm walking parallel to the river now, not immediately up on it. It's probably a good 30 yards to my right, but we're going to take a few minutes here. I didn't mention it earlier, but today happens to be the Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and in the spirit of the season, I wanted to take a couple minutes here to talk about something I'm very thankful for. Now, I've got many things in my life to be thankful for, many aspects of my life, many people in my life. The circumstances of my life have much to say for them, and I am grateful for all of it. But today, in particular, I wanted to talk about how thankful I am for my father. And part of why I wanted to call this out today specifically is it has been a very rough couple of years for my father, medically speaking. Beginning of last year, he was having some issues and getting checked out related to something or with an ENT, and they saw a growth in his throat, which eventually they determined needed to be removed and biopsied. And after they did that, it was identified as throat cancer. He went through a regimen of radiation treatment after it was removed, and subsequent follow-ups, and then towards the end of last year, he started, or I guess about the last third of last year, started having some rather dramatic weight loss, fatigue, some pain. Eventually they determined that he was having some hyperthyroidism, likely triggered as a result of the radiation treatments. It was, since that was right in the same area. But after they kind of got that under control, was still having pain. They had some scans done and suspected that he might have had gallstones, and they scheduled him for removal of his gallbladder. And after they did that, and subsequent biopsy revealed that it wasn't gallstones, but it was cancer in his gallbladder. Now, this was a completely different cancer than the throat cancer he was experiencing previously. And so, it looked like they may have gotten it intact when they removed the gallbladder, but they wanted to do some follow-up chemotherapy to be a preventative, because it was identified as a very aggressive form of cancer. Well, when they went to start his chemotherapy for the gallbladder, and he was doing both oral as well as he was going to be doing an infusion of that. When they went to start it, his blood work came back with very low counts on his white blood cells and platelets, and they did not want to move forward with the chemotherapy at that point until he had seen a hematologist. Well, hematologist wanted to go ahead and do a bone marrow biopsy, and when the results of that came back, my father has leukemia. So 3 different distinct cancers in the space of a year and a half that he was diagnosed with. And now he has been going through, for basically the second half of this year, multiple rounds of chemotherapy with bone marrow biopsies in between them. And we're holding steady. His condition hasn't been worsening, but we haven't seen the improvements that we would have hoped by now. But actually, that little interruption in the video, I was getting a phone call from them, lab work, which is preliminary to the next bone marrow biopsy, had some positive indicators for the first time that gives us hope that the chemotherapy is starting to have an effect. So we'll wait to see what the next biopsy shows, but we continue to hope and pray for positive outcomes. That all just kind of pretext for what I wanted to really talk about and why I'm thankful for my father. Well, I'm thankful he's still here. That's obvious, but his whole attitude and approach during all of this, he's been at some pretty low points physically, and obviously that weighs on you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but he has rallied each time, and he has used this situation he's faced himself with as an ability to share his testimony. He has continued to remain strong in his faith. He has been positive in his outlook. He has been, just a rock of perseverance in the face of everything that he has faced. And the rest of my family, my mother especially, has been right there with him, supporting him. But he's the one who's been having to go through it directly, and he has just, he's been an inspiration to me. I have done these videos and done this challenge in an attempt to, potentially be an inspiration to others. And I think that, maybe my sharing them has given my parents and my dad especially something to look forward to as he's been going through his own struggles. And so if I've been able to have a positive contribution, then that is just bonus on top of everything else I've been doing. But if I might be an inspiration to others, he has definitely been an inspiration to me. His perseverance has, oftentimes been a source of strength and encouragement for me as I've faced times during this challenge when it's like I'm so far behind. It's so hard out here. It's hot. It's difficult. I'm facing physical challenges, and I look to him and think of what all he's going through, and it's part of what has given me the strength to continue on and persevere through this challenge to the point that I'm seeing the end of it, and I can hope that he might be seeing the end of what he's going through as well with a positive outcome. But I've rambled on long enough with this. I just wanted to share that little glimpse into my life and my family, and I'll get back to the hiking here and talk about the trail, but just wanted to share that. So thanks for listening if you didn't skip past this, and on to hiking. Okay, I'm continuing on, still walking alongside the waterways. Had a slight sprinkle of rain come through, and I knew that there was possibility of more intense stuff coming, so I paused to put the poncho on for a little bit. But after about 15 minutes walking with that, the rain had pretty much completely let up. I know there's still more coming, but I've got a gap, and it was just too warm and muggy to keep the poncho on, so I stopped and took it off again. So we'll see how long this lasts. But yeah, I'm continuing to be thrilled as can be with this trail. I mean, it may not pose the same physical challenges that I've had on other trails, but it's a completely new environment, and all sorts of, you know, every time I turn around or go around a corner or go around another bend in the trail, there's new sights, there's new things that I haven't seen before, there's new geographical features, there's new plant life, new animals that I can at least hear even if I'm not seeing them. And yeah, a whole variety of the bridges like this in varying states of good solid repair, or some in need of a little TLC. But I think I go to the left here. And yeah, I'm still enjoying every bit of this trail, and I figure I've got maybe about 1.5 miles to go. So we'll see if we can't finish that up in this gap between the rain, and then meet up with those that are picking me up. And I got to scramble here, so I'm taking the camera off and deal with that. Well, I'm making the turn away from the little Manatee River finally, heading north a little bit to cut back inland to the junction with the spur trail that runs from the parking lot from trailhead to the main loop proper. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish things out. Just a short distance left. My ride is on the way and gonna meet me there. So, and as you can see by my garments, the rain has picked back up again, and I'm not sure if it's gonna intensify or let up, but I think I'll finish the hike out with the poncho on. But it's been a good day today. You know, a nice little excursion in the middle of a vacation week that my family is gracious enough to allow me in support of my efforts. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing today, so I recommend the trail for those in the area, and thank you for coming along with me today. We will see you on the next trail.